Shut up and sit down.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
When I'm on my bike, I can do the things I like. When I'm on my bicycle,
I look like a jackass.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way, like an improvisation.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Lee Grand, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. We all have two lives. The second one begins when we realize that we only have one. Enjoy the podcast.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what, man, them dang old boy ain't right. Man, I'm gonna talk about don't kick them dang old ass. Man, I don't take... For God's sakes, Hank, act like an adult, man. Well, you know, Bobby, I talk time don't take from me, man. It don't life too short, man. You don't want to hold no grudge, man. I thought maybe you gonna let old bygones be bygones, man.
All right, welcome back to the Dow Podcast. I am Jake Von Turing. I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler. Hello. Hello there.
What's up, Captain Friggin?
Captain Friggin' here. Just bringing the hate. I'm full of hate. No, I bring out the hate in other people. That's what it is.
There you go. To his right, Sir Ian Gibson.
Hello, good afternoon, Ian Gibson.
Gibbo.
That's all I got to say.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you want to do it again? Do you want your little...
I remain without a formal introduction, and it's going to stay that way.
Some weird intro. You know, I don't feel like you have to have a weird intro, like whatever Lance and I have.
Yeah. After the ribbing I got from a couple of weeks ago.
To his right,
Self-confidence.
Mr. Matt
What's
Legrand.
up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? It is lovely to see you guys today.
Lovely to see you too, man.
Yeah.
Sweet. Who would like to backpedal? We get this thing called the backpedal, you guys, where we kind of talk about what we did over this past week, most notably races, if people haven't listened to this before. Anyone?
Who's
Matt,
going?
Matt, would you like to go first, Matt?
Sure.
Go first.
Backpedaling.
Yeah.
I've mostly been running and swimming. I haven't done a ton of cycling and stuff like that. And I have a ton of watches in the bucket to review. So that's what I've been busy.
You got some work to do.
I got a lot of work to do. I was supposed to get a video out today. It's not going to happen probably. But then there's like 2 next week. There's stuff being announced next week. So tune in for that. But don't tune into my Strava. Whatever you do not go to my Strava account and follow me, because what you see there might be a little bit of running, a little bit of swimming, but not enough cycling.
All the cycling content you want from Matt won't be there.
I'll probably, I don't know. If it's not too rainy this weekend, I'll probably go out for like an easy 20 miles and get coffee. You know, it's like just the standard stuff. Today would be the right day to do that. But
Nice.
I don't know. We'll see.
Cool. Gibbo, did you race this past week?
I did not race. Unless you count the dialed flogging ride.
Ooh.
We
I was,
should count that.
Well, it is essentially unsanctioned racing on the road. It was all out. It felt like I'd been thoroughly flogged. It felt like I was...
Which group did you ride with?
Pace. B.
The B group.
Perfect.
Well, it was B on the way out there, and then it was kind of...
It's all together on the way back.
Yeah.
I rode with Ian too at the flogging ride.
In the B group?
In the B group.
Sandbaggers.
Well, I didn't think there were going to be enough people in the A group, but it ended up there were 10 people that
That's what I heard.
showed up last night in the B group, and a few hitters that had just flown in from New Zealand.
Yep, a couple Kiwi hitters came back.
Wow. The flogging ride is getting quite serious.
It was,
Worldwide?
Oh my
I got-
gosh.
I mean, I was dropped on the way back.
Were you really?
Yep. Like
Wow.
halfway back.
Jeez. Dude, were you like behind the wrong people and there was like a little bit of an attack or a break? And things
No,
got...
those guys were just drilling it so fast. And I was doing 450 watts just trying to stay on the wheel.
On somebody's wheel?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, there was some spicy sections
Sweet.
last night.
I was talking to Paul, and he said that it was like his second or third fast first part. And he's like, yeah, they were going pretty hard. So who of you two, who won the first leg?
Lance Romance.
You beat Ian on the first leg, huh?
I think I was off the front
Ian's,
Oh, that's right, because you're in the B group. Freaking same.
Ian's fitness is lacking this year. It's just not working.
I worked really hard. I tried to like attack, and I didn't make it, but I did beat Ian.
How big was the B group?
It was 15.
Yeah.
It was 15 people.
The A's never caught us,
The A's
and
didn't
we
catch
did go
us.
past the C's.
Yes.
How
Well,
big
what
was the
was-
C group?
Another 10 or 12.
Okay. So
Yeah.
nice little numbers.
Women's group too?
There was only 2 women that showed up, and they just went with the C group.
Okay, so there was
Yeah.
no D group and only 2 women.
Yes.
All right, still
I'll
good,
say,
good showing though.
what was really good to see was my clients, Dan Beal and Chris Mann. Shout out to those guys. They were super strong yesterday.
Yeah.
They beat me.
Oh my gosh.
And I guess what's happened is
Student has
I've been
become the
giving
master.
these guys these full on structured training workouts and not doing them myself. And it shows, right? They're getting strong. those
In the
guys.
first half, Chris Mann was on my wheel for a little while. He was breathing so
Oh, yeah.
hard.
He gives
Was he battling you?
Yes, he was trying to stay on my wheel, and oh my gosh,
Could you imagine the person that was in front of you, what they were thinking? The
they
two of you guys.
the 2 of us breathing so loudly.
He's like, I'm either crushing these guys or there is a monster on my tail. So,
Anyway, it was a good workout. It was like 170 TSS, something. It was,
wow.
For an hour and 40 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an hour and 40. Well, I mean, I guess including like the regroup and all that other stuff.
Ian and I rode from the lab, so we did some before and extra.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But anyway, apart from that, I've been out on the road all week. I've been out in my van touring around. I went to see daughter number 2 in Eugene and then drove across country, across desolate southern Oregon and northern Nevada. It was a great trip out to Salt Lake City. Did a couple of rides there, some of the epic climbs out of Salt Lake City, which was great.
Sweet.
Hung out with my eldest daughter for a couple of days and drove home. Just got in.
Sweet. Did you go by yourself? Or did your wife
Yeah,
come?
Just me, yeah.
That's fun.
Out on the road. It was good.
Cool. Yep.
Yes, I did race my bike this last weekend. I went out to Madras, Oregon, in Central Oregon. There were 2 races that happened. On Saturday, there was the Obra State Championship short track race.
Before all the other short track races of the year.
Yes, this was the first short track race of the year, and they decided to make that the state championships. Not sure really why they decided to do that. Maybe they wanted to have it in Madras. I don't know, whatever. But they did that. And it was kind of poorly attended. I was a little disappointed. There weren't other races on the calendar, but it was just kind of poorly attended. There weren't a whole ton of people.
Weather
there.
was good?
Weather was good. It actually rained, not during the race, but after the race for like 4 hours in Madras, which doesn't happen very often, which made the dirt perfect for Sunday.
Yeah. Primo
when the sun
hero
came
dirt,
out.
Yep.
But during the short track race, it was 23-minute race, super hot and crazy. Just super fast. It was like full gas. And they lined up the 40-year-olds and the 50-year-olds and the 60-year-olds all together, but separated by age groups.
Okay. Did they release them in different heats or everybody went together?
Oh, they all blew a whistle and we all went together.
Okay. Out of curiosity, if they're only 23-minute heats, why would they push everybody out at the same time? Why wouldn't you at least give them like a minute or 2-minute gap?
Because there weren't that many people there.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
It's just not logical because like then that's going to be a situation where if you have the option to do that, you always do it. You don't need it to look good at the start line. You need to make it fair and competitive. And if you're dealing with people in lap traffic, let's say you're a really fast 50 or 60-year-old and you're coming through, people before you.
Yes.
Or that are in front of you. Because when they staged you, did you just go wherever? Did they break you up?
No, they broke us up. They called, so on the short track race, they called in the 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
Then they called in the 50-year-olds. Then they called in the 60-year-olds into the start chute.
Okay, so let me ask you a question because I know what happened. How soon was it before you were dealing with 40-year-olds who were in your way?
Immediately.
Yeah. That shouldn't happen.
Immediately. It was only like a mile. It was like a 1.2 mile lap.
Sure.
So short track, right? So, but the first quarter mile was double track, so you could get around people. But I started on like the 5th row. I was supposed to be on the 7th row, but I squoze myself up to the 5th row.
Yeah. And I have to imagine there was probably some 60-year-old guys in there that can still bring it that were dealing with traffic.
Yeah.
So that's going to skew the outcomes? Why do that if you don't have to?
I don't know. They just decided there weren't that many people there, so they're going to do it all in one
Maybe,
thing.
maybe just dealing with traffic is part of the short track experience.
It could
and
be.
part of
It
the
is, but it
skills
should be
there.
just from your race.
Yeah.
Like if you're at the back of your group and you have to deal with your group, that's fine. I have no problems with that. But we've dealt with this for a long time, and it used to be an issue when we did this at Portland, and they would blow the whistle every 30 seconds. Like they would blow it
Yeah.
for our category, and inevitably we're
We would
always
catch 'em.
people that we're having to deal with that are slower than the group that's a little bit younger than us every single time.
Every time.
So
So what ended up happening was they blow the whistle, and there were two guys that got off the front that I could never, two 4-year-olds that I could never catch because it's too short of a race. You're just going full gas. Scott Schultz
oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
good for him.
and Matt Moranzoni, the new guy from 10 Barrel who lives in Bend. So he's pretty fast too.
All right.
And Chris Surratt was in the 40-year-old field as well. It took me, I don't know, a third of a mile to catch Chris. So they blow the whistle. I moved around as many people as I possibly could, and I went into the first single track in like 5th position
Overall,
overall.
Okay.
So I got around most of the 40s. But I caught Chris and went in front of him, and it was only a 5-lap race. I can't remember how many laps it was. It was a 5-lap race. By the going through the first lap, I got in front of Chris, I was way ahead of all the 50-year-olds, and I knew it. So all I was trying to do
Work for Chris?
just to pull Chris back to the front of the 40-year-olds because there were two guys ahead of us.
Sure.
And I was just trying to desperately get Chris up to those guys, and I couldn't
make it
do
happen, yeah?
No, they kept on the gas just enough. We were doing equal. Our laps were the same times.
Yeah,
I just couldn't
yeah.
make up any ground. So it was pretty crazy.
Who won the 40s? Was it Schultz or was it the other guy?
Scott Schultz won
Good for you, Scott.
by like 5 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. So Scott Schultz won the Obra State Championship. Matt Moranzoni was
State champion.
second. Yep.
That's cool.
And Chris Surratt was third. And in the 50s, I ended up winning the 50-year-old.
State champion.
State champion.
Sitting at this table.
Sitting at the table. So I got another Obra championship jersey.
How many do you have now?
2. Just 2. So let me clarify that. There are probably 6 or 7 faster 50-year-olds, absolutely, that could have crushed me here. They just weren't at the race.
Yeah.
So
Well, we got to show up.
yeah, so I don't know why they weren't at the race. It was a bit of, I would have liked to have seen a bigger field, but
Was there something else going on that weekend? I know that Madras is a little bit of a drive. Was it like a 2.5 hour drive from Portland?
2.5 hours from Portland.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't anything else going on.
No.
I don't know what the deal was. Next day was the cross country mountain bike race.
Not the state championship.
Not the state championship. And this cross country mountain bike race is not part of the series that Ripley is kind
a
of
one-off,
spearheading.
come
It's
out
just a
and-
one-off. And I don't know why it's not part of the series. I'm not sure, but it's a one-off. There was a few more people at that. It
Interesting.
Because it was a longer race, although it only ended up being an hour and 8 minutes for me or something like that.
That's short
Yeah,
for
it was
next
like
sea race.
they were 5-mile laps, and we only did 3 laps. The Cat 2s only did 3 laps.
Okay,
So,
let me ask you a question. Do you think that the short track should have been another lap? And do you think that that should have been another lap? Did they shorten these races a little bit too much?
if you had asked me at the finish line,
No.
no,
Yeah.
because I was gassed.
yeah, but you're going hard because you know it's only so much, because
Yes.
it's in a short amount of time, so you're going to go that much harder, but you're going to pace it just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
The cross country race, the Cat 1s and elites did 4 laps, but the Cat 2s only did 3 laps.
Gotcha.
So
Oh, that's right. You're a cat too,
I'm
huh?
Cat 2. So I raised Cat 2. On that one, they didn't. We had a long conversation with the race promoter about the start shoot because we thought it was not good that they put us into age groups. And so the promoter said, okay, all Cat 2s come in. So when he called us to the start line, he didn't call us by age group. He just said,
All cat twos.
yeah, all Cat 2s pull in. So I was able to start on the front row because I placed myself.
Squoze yourself again.
I suppose myself again. So, of course, this was 19 to 39, or 19 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to... There was 6 of us age groups in there that
Sure.
all started together. But, I went right to the front at the start and won a 22-year-old kid went past me on the first climb, and we kind of just let him go. And I kind of pulled 2 10-barrel guys around the whole way. Anyway, I ended up winning that race too by a couple minutes in the Cat 2s. And I was racing with 2 other guys. Neither of them. We were all 3 in different age groups, so we weren't really racing each other. But Surratt was behind me trying to catch us, and I was kind of
Coming off the gas just a little bit.
just trying to hold it up a little bit for Chris.
Oh, let me slow down for this corner.
Yes, and it just didn't work out. There was enough places where they could have passed if they wanted to, that I couldn't come off the gas too much during the race. But regardless, anyway, so I won that race.
Gotcha. How did your lap times compare to the Cat 1 lap times, out of curiosity? I know that they did a full extra lap, so it's going to be skewed a little bit. You can't compare apples to apples there, but just out of curiosity, do you think you were in the ballpark? Do you think that the times that they were holding are something you could have held as well?
I was doing 23-minute laps, like 22 high minute and 23-minute laps, and the Cat 1 guys were doing 22 low laps or 21 even laps.
For one more lap. Now,
so they did an extra lap, and they were going a full minute faster per lap.
Okay, how much do you think you let off the gas trying to help out Chris?
Not a minute's worth.
No. So do you think you would have podiumed maybe if you were a Cat 1? Or is that something where maybe top 5 or 10?
It would have been close.
Okay,
to
just
the podium.
just curious. I don't know.
Yeah, would have been close.
I'm fueling the fire for your haters out there.
I had a long conversation about it with Chuck.
Oh, you did?
With the Obra director.
What did they say
about it? I just like
care to share?
Well, I don't know if everybody wants to hear this. Chuck is he is not pushing me to cat up. Let's just say
for
that.
those who don't know, he's the executive director of the Oregon Bicycle Racing Association. So that the head honcho, if you will.
And he was there, and I'm like, Chuck, tell me honestly, how much hate are you getting about me? And he honestly said, it's really only one guy.
Oh. So you got one guy that just really loves you out there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, find out who it is and buy him a box of chocolates.
So I didn't want to ask who it was. He didn't want to tell me. It's totally fine. So
That seems fair.
yeah. So and Chuck and he's like, look, you're in a tight spot. Everything we talked about last week on the podcast. He understands, and he's not like pushing me to cat up.
Yeah. You know, the best way to resolve this is just get a crap ton more people to come out and race bikes.
Yes.
And then it will sort itself out.
Yes, correct.
And then if there's the need and there's the demand for other categories for other age groups, problem solved.
Yeah.
So start recruiting.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, go recruit some more cyclists to come
get
do
more
some more
people there.
bike racing. So good for everybody. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
I rode my bike all the rest of the week.
How did you do on the second half of the flogging ride? Ian told me how he did. How did you do?
I lasted longer than Ian.
Okay. But you didn't make it back to the...
Nope.
Did you guys ride back to the parking lot?
We
or
did not ride back to the parking lot.
So
we
you-
cut off on Lake Road.
Okay.
But I did not make it to that light with the front group.
Okay. Where
Believe it or not,
What?
I got dropped on a downhill.
What? Is it over there on...
Sounds like you.
This is Green Mountain segment.
Okay. So 199th or whatever
Yeah,
Ingles.
it's Green Mountain segment. There's one rise right before you do a downhill, before you go to the stoplight, the new
Was there a
stoplight.
little gap and some people just started going...
Yes. So what happened is when we hit that rise, everybody was doing 800 watts. That like I'm in the front group on that, but everybody's doing 800 watts, and I'm doing 600.
So they gapped you, got over crested, and there was a little bit of gap, and then they just stayed on it, and they were
stayed
working
on it,
together, and you couldn't close
yes,
it. Okay.
I couldn't close it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I just couldn't
happens.
close it on the downhill.
Nobody came around to help you to pull back in?
No, they did, but too fast. I couldn't jump on.
Oh, no.
Four guys came around me.
Who?
It was Ed, Dudlick, and I actually don't know. And
others?
a couple other POA guys, and they did what they were supposed to do. They like used my wheel and slingshot it up to the front group, and I couldn't jump on because I had gassed so hard trying to catch them on the downhill. I'm doing like 39 miles an hour or something.
It's classic, right? Over the top. That's where it happens.
Yes,
Always.
over the top. Yeah.
So what I would really love to do is I'm sure people that do that ride are listening to this, and I'm going to encourage people to start wearing or putting GoPros or action cameras on their bike front and back if possible.
Yeah.
Front would be fantastic. If you got the back too, that's even better. And I would love to get that data. It would be fun to put together a video of that race and then just do a little bit of commentary and talk about that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Teaching purposes. That'd be a lot of fun. So
I need to hook up that GoPro.
there we go.
That freaking ride hurt though, man. It was hard.
I can imagine those will get after you a little bit. So I'm going to skip my back, but I really don't have much to say other than I did go. Well, actually, you know what? I did. I went to Pennsylvania. I was gone for a few days. So
You're looking at
Yeah, how
schools
was
with
that?
your daughter.
went to Penn State.
Yeah, how was it?
It was actually really cool. I've never been to PA before, and Central PA is pretty stinking pretty. State College, if you've never been there before, is a really cool town built around the university or Penn State University. That university is pretty incredible. It's beautiful. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it. My daughter fell in love with it, and I'm pretty sure that's probably where she's going to commit. So,
Wow.
it's gonna be a long ways away because that is a
she's liking that one more,
full day of travel to get there. No joke.
I
Like
thought she was going to Colorado. I thought it was all done.
it
done
was,
and dusted.
and she's accepted there. But then she started doing a little bit of research, and she's very much not into the party scene. That's not her jam. She really wants to focus on her studies, and so she's really adamant about not going to a school that's known as a quote unquote party school. And CU is pretty high up on that list in terms of the partying that happens there. And then we went to Penn State, and she fell in love with it. And then I found a couple different surveys that show that Penn State's actually an even bigger party school
Yeah,
than
that's what I remember.
CU. But she just really, there's something about that school that jived with her. She liked the vibe. So both schools are great, and she's got accepted to University of Oregon, Oregon State, University of Denver, a few others, and there's a short list, and she's just about ready to make her decision. I have a sneaking suspicion that's where she's going to end up. And the only thing that sucks about that is if I want to go visit her, it's like, it's going to be a 10-hour day to get out there to see her.
It's 2 flights.
It's 2 flights, yeah, for sure, and sometimes even 3. So it took us 3 flights to get there, and it took us 3 flights to get home. It took us 17 hours to get out there, and it was 13 hours to get home, and that's just a long friggin' day. It's just too much. So anyway, so I did that, and I did go to the doctor. I don't really have much to report yet because we're still coming up with a game plan, but I do kind of have a general idea, but I don't want to go into that anymore. We'll talk about that later. When I actually have something done and have something to report, I will put it out there, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, based on what we talked about, I might be able to return to cycling if everything goes as planned as early as July. So good times.
Champ Bailey in sports.
Is Champ Bailey here?
Champ is here.
Champ, all right.
Champ is here.
Close the door behind you, Champ.
Some big races happened this last week. We had Amstel Gold Race, which
Yes, we
happened
did.
last weekend. That was the famous race back in 2019 where Matthew Van Der Poel pulled the whole field back and then sprinted over the top and ended up winning, and it was pretty crazy. This edition, Matthew Van Der Poel was there. He did not win the race.
That's big news.
That's big news. Guess who won the race?
I know.
Ian.
Who was it?
Go, Ian.
Tom.
Thomas Pidcock.
Yeah.
Wins the race. Played his cards perfectly.
Who
Who
drinks beer best on the podium?
Not Tom Pidcock.
He didn't. He took a sip and then gave this sour face and handed it off.
You're not allowed to do that.
I wonder how many Belgians he ticked off. Probably
Damn
lots.
Brits.
Yes. Anyway,
Not something Brits are generally known for. Not drinking beer.
right, right.
He wanted a warm Guinness or something like that. I don't know.
So kind of exciting to see Pidcock win. If you recall, a few years ago, he was in a photo finish with Wout van Aert, and the photo showed that Pidcock won, but they awarded the race to Wout. It was that close. It could have gone either way, but Wout ended up getting the victory for the race.
Even though the photo showed otherwise?
Well, I think Wout was overtaking him. It was so dead even. Pidcock, when the press conference got to him, he's like, yeah, I'm really happy to win this race for the second time. Joking because he didn't. The results show that he took second a couple years ago. So kind of exciting. So good for Tom. So it was a pretty crazy, difficult race. Not as many cobble sectors or as difficult of a race, which is what Van Der Poel needs to separate himself. So he was working for other teammates, but he finished back in 20th or something like that. And then Wednesday, we're recording this on a Friday. Wednesday, 2 days ago, we had La Flèche Wallonne, which is also a not too many cobble races, but is a Belgian classic, not one of the monuments. And it was frigging terrible weather. It was nasty. It was one of those races where the racers all start off and the sun is shining, but then it starts to rain and they're all trying to get their rain gear on and they're putting their gloves on and then they're too soaked and can't feel anything and they're taking off their wet gloves and trying to put new, gloves on, and they take this vest. It was like there's a helicopter shot during the race where the helicopter was showing the field going along the road, and it's just straight sideways sleet going in front of.
Brutal.
It was brutal. From what I recall, I think there were only like 40 people that actually finished because most people just bailed.
It looked almost as bad as Kings Valley Road Race a couple of years ago.
44 official finishers.
Out of how many people started?
Out of 130?
Oh my Lord.
Everybody bailed. Well, it ended with 4 loops around this one section that ends with the Muir. What is it?
Mur de Huy.
Mur de Huy. It's a very steep climb that gets up to almost 20%, and the race finishes on top of that. But they did 4 circuits that went up that 4 times. And so it kind of a surprise. Another Brit won this race kind of just by pushing it out at the end. Who was it? Ian?
Huh? Wait.
I can't remember now.
Stevie Williams,
yeah.
Stevie Williams from Israel Premier Tech, a name we've never even heard before, but he pulled it out. He played his timing just right and ended up winning that.
Very impressive.
It was. Tish Benut looked like he was gonna, do something well. I think Carapaz was right in there, but both of them kind of fell apart at the end.
How do you feel about Hershey coming in second in the Flesh Wallon? And you've got Tade that's looking pretty strong, and you've got Yates.
So this weekend we have...
this is going to be big, Liège-Bastogne-Liège this weekend. But UAE sneaking up there, and then you've got Visma that's been pretty decimated with injuries. And
Visma's not looking so hot.
Not right. Well,
they're
getting some positive news, but I think we might be a little bit close to some races where they wanted to do well. They might have to recalculate for this season, but I'm kind of liking the way that UAE is looking right now.
Yeah, Mark Hershey took second at Amstel Gold.
Oh, was it Amstel Gold?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And Tish Benut took third at Amstel Gold, and he was in the top 8 at La Flèche Wallonne. So he raced pretty well. But yeah, UAE is coming on strong after what's happened with Visma Lisa Bike.
And I think the big thing is throughout this weekend, stay on your bike, don't hit the pavement. I just look at this stuff and I'm like, this is destroying seasons.
Yeah. Yes.
Liège-Bastogne-Liège was when Tade broke his wrist last year, correct?
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So, yeah, don't crash, buddy.
And so Liège-Bastogne-Liège coming up this weekend. Is it Saturday or Sunday?
We don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's Sunday.
I think it's Sunday. So it's the 4th of 5 monuments for the year. So Vanderpool is in this race. Tade is in this race. And those are kind of the 2 big names going into it because everybody else has crashed themselves out. So we'll see what happens between Tade and Vanderpool. That's kind of a toss-up. I don't know. That's Tade's race.
Who would you put? You think? Put your money on Tade?
I put my money on Tade. He hasn't raced for
He's raced
3 weeks. He's going to be freaking fired up and ready to go.
Yeah.
So
Is Jasper racing?
I don't know.
Stevenson?
Peacock Racing?
I don't know. That's a good call there. I mean, he's been formidable in those one-day races.
Oh, yeah.
Get him to the finish, and you're not going to out-sprint the guy.
Never.
So, crazy. Anything else?
Nope.
Cool.
Champ out.
Matt, anything that you wanted to add?
Nope.
In the realm of triathlon-y, runny things?
I'm sure that there's been something decent there. I feel like there was a race in Singapore, but yeah, we need Evan Price for that. Evan Price, come back to the podcast.
Yeah, he's been, how many hours does that guy put in a week right now?
Oh, a lot.
It's 25, 30 hours a week,
yeah,
if not.
Yeah.
Plus
I think he's working
all the hours.
Working the triathlon stuff hard.
Yeah.
He's neck deep in it right now.
Yep.
Crazy. That's something you got to do while you can still do it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got the chops to be there, so why not continue?
Yeah.
So maybe one of these days when he retires. How long do you think he'll go and stay a pro? I mean, as long as he can, or do you think there's like
probably till like baby stuff happens? I mean, like there's probably that thought in his mind. I don't think he wants to be doing professional triathlon when he.
Yeah, you can't work and then also coach and then train and be a husband and a dad and all of the other things. That's
I think it's
hard.
tricky. I mean, I've just talked to him before, and I think that like when he wants to do more family stuff, he'll dedicate the time to it, as opposed to being like me, who's like, "Oh, we can do it all. Let's just do it all." Don't be stupid, man. Don't be stupid.
There you go.
That's the key ingredient there.
Cool.
No Philipson at
Jakob
at Liège, Bastogne Liège. That
All
took
right.
me a while to find.
He's okay.
You guys going to watch the Liège Bastogne Liège this weekend, you think?
I will watch it. Those monuments are fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's kind of anybody's game, which is kind of fun.
Do we know if that's on Peacock or Max or
Did we find out if it was Saturday or Sunday?
I'm pretty I think it's Sunday if I'm not mistaken. But Lance is feverishly looking that up right now. We'll see if
I'll watch a recording of it. I'm racing myself on Sunday.
Well, that's right. Do you want to talk about that real quick? What race are you doing on Sunday?
Liège, Bastogne Liège. I beat you, Ian. Too late. It's on 4/21. What day is that?
Sunday.
Sunday on Peacock. It's on Peacock. 4/21.
Yeah, it conflicts with the Paper Town Road Race that is happening out of Longview, Washington.
Sweet.
Sunday, yeah. So it should be good.
It's being put on by the Cowlitz cycling team, if I'm not mistaken. They
believe
took
so,
that over from Pacific Office Automation, or they
Travis,
gifted it to them. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully they have a good showing there. Cool. Let's jump into our topic for this week. You guys ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. It's our top 10. We haven't done a top 10 list in a while. I like top 10 lists. I think they're fun. And it's in no particular order. So our list of 10 items that
The listeners could put it in order
they can if they want. Yeah.
in the
That
comment
sounds like
section.
work.
Maybe I'll ask you guys when we're all said and done which ones you think are the most relevant here. But are 10 tech things that cyclists should be consider using or adopting for cycling?
10 tech things that cyclists.
10
Okay. All right.
cycling adjacent things.
There you go. Yeah.
That-
It's things
okay.
that
This title's
cyclists could be
tricky.
using, but it's basically anything that any Joe Schmo, can use out there and gets enjoyment out of or gets good functional use out of that cyclists consider using as well that would help them enhance their cycling experience. So
And enjoyment. What's number one on your list? Or we shouldn't even call it number one.
in
What's
no
one of
particular
What's
order?
one of the items on your list?
Recovery is important to everybody, and it doesn't matter if you're just the kind of person that goes and walks 20 miles at a mall, or if you go do hiking or do ultras.
That's our future. Mall walking.
Yes, it is.
You know where I pulled that from? So on my flight out to Penn State this past weekend with my daughter and my wife, we had a 3.5 hour, almost 4 hour layover in Minneapolis, which sucked. But it's like,
Mall
what do you
of
do?
America.
Exactly, it's 7 minutes away. Grabbed an Uber.
7 minutes away.
7 minutes away. We grabbed an Uber. We went over there. I'd never been there before. None of us had ever been there before. They've got lockers over there because people come over from the airport all the time. So you put your crap in the locker, and we walked around for a while. We did one, we'll call it clover of it, and I think there's like 4 of these loops in there, and that one loop was a mile walk.
Okay.
Which is pretty crazy. But what's funny is when you're in there and you're walking, you're doing this, they've got these little signs up high that show you this is the route for the speed walker running groups that come in there. And I don't think
They
that
have
they're
running
necessarily
groups?
doing it while it's busy, but they come in like early in the morning. If you think
Yeah.
about Minnesota in the wintertime,
Oh, yeah.
it's miserable. So you go to the Mall of America and you go walk laps. And it's like if you do the whole thing, it's something, I don't know, I'm probably totally wrong on this. I'd have to go or check it. But if it's the same as the one lap that we did, and there's 4 of them, it's about 4 miles.
I kind of want to go and run there, like just to go, like
to jog
just
through
to run. Yeah,
Oh, is this
Mall of America.
Is this a mall walking podcast?
yeah,
now?
it is. Yeah, it is. It's always been, Lance. This has always been a mall walking podcast.
It's just been in
I'm
disguise.
just surprised that you.
We're
thought it was
on
a
our way
cycling.
to mall walking.
There's a freaking amusement park in the middle of this thing with like roller coasters and like
Yeah.
like all these rides and different things. It's just absolutely bonkers.
Lance, what would you wear if you were going to go mall walking with me?
The biggest, whitest shoes I could find.
Yeah, okay,
with the
good.
thickest soles. Not Hoka's. Those
But
are
I
too
feel like
cool.
we should have like hot pink,
Some
like
New Balance from
Some
Costco.
New Balance from Costco, all white.
I feel like our outfits should like have some sort of like jumpsuit kind of look to them, and they should like swish when you walk.
yes, corduroy pants,
Corduroy jorts.
corduroy shorts.
You set a fire, man.
All
You
right.
set a fire.
All right.
Okay.
Get back on topic here. Compression boots and massage guns. Those we're going to put in one category for recovery because I think that's important to everybody. What do you guys think? You guys own the compression boots? You guys own the
Yes.
massage gun?
I got it all, and I think the massage gun's nice and easy. It's a little bit easier than the compression boots to throw on. I don't throw the compression boots on that frequently, even though my legs hurt all the time.
I agree. I've got a set.
Same.
It's quite an investment, right? It's something like $500 or $600.
The,
Something like
the
that, yeah.
Normatec ones are
I
more than
don't-
that.
Yeah,
they
like
are.
I
$600
don't
or
use them
$700.
that often.
Air Relax is less expensive.
They are.
I've got one here, and we've got 2 sizes of the boots. They get used all the time. Everybody in my family uses them.
Really? Do they just chill out on the couch and throw them on?
Yeah, like my son's been using them pretty regularly lately because he's doing a lot of track workouts.
Track and field.
My wife will use them after long, challenging runs, and
Yeah.
then my youngest daughter will use them after like a soccer tournament. My oldest daughter will use them because I don't know, she thinks it's fun to sit in there. So
It feels good. I mean, it's really a good feeling. Sit on the couch, put your legs up, and fire up the compression boots.
Sure.
Feels good. I don't know. I haven't really compared using them to not using them in terms of the quality of my recovery.
Well, I know, like after I use them though, I generally feel better, and I feel like I actually sleep a little bit better too, because it's usually in the evening when I'll use them. So maybe there's something there, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the science says, but
I have a pair of the boots, and
You probably have a massage gun too, because those are.
well, my wife uses a massage gun more than I do.
Does she?
But honestly, the Air Relax boots, I've used them twice in the last year.
Yeah.
I do not use them very often, and I'm not sure why. I get done with my rides. I get in the hot tub at my house for like 15 minutes. Then I dip in the pool. Then I get in the sauna for 20 minutes, and then I dip in the pool and get out. And then I feel like freaking fantastic.
Is the pool like an ice bath? How cold is it?
Yeah, it's like 55 degrees because my pump broke.
oh.
So the heater isn't working.
Yeah.
Do you have a place where your boots live, and are they easily accessible and easy to set up?
I took them to training camp because everybody uses them, and I haven't taken them out of the bag since getting back from training camp. When was that?
Or March?
February.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the end of February.
Interesting.
So I haven't used
I think
them.
that's the key. Is I think I need to move mine to like the downstairs where we're all like sitting around watching TV or something like that, and then maybe people throw it on.
Yeah, we've got this built-in thing in our living room, and it's got a big giant drawer, a bunch of them. And the top one right in the middle, it's all laid out, so it's really quick and simple just to pull everything out and get yourself set up. You can be on the machine with it running within 30 seconds or a minute at most.
I think that's the key. I need to look at your storage system in the
Accessibility.
living room.
Yep.
but
I should have had
our
mine
living
on.
room.
I should have had mine on Wednesday night. Then maybe I wouldn't have gotten dropped so quickly.
That's
on
true.
the flogging ride.
So we all have
secret.
we all have massage or the compression boots. Worth the investment? Is it worth the investment, or do you have regrets?
I don't use them as much as I thought I would.
Okay,
So I have some regrets.
you have some regrets. Is it more that you just need to condition yourself to use them more
Probably.
frequently? Okay,
Yeah.
Ian?
Same.
Matt?
Yeah, I think same. I think that sounds about right. I have reviewed them, and I think that like if you've looked at it and you're like, this looks good, like go for the more affordable Air Relax pair, because it's like half the
Wait,
price.
the Air Relax are the affordable ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Normatechs
The
are
Normatechs
like
are twice the price.
they're like $700 or $800 or something like that.
Oh, I thought they were over 1,000.
They might be now. I don't
Yeah.
know, with inflation, all that fun stuff.
Who knows?
Maybe.
With inflation. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the value that you're gonna get isn't
Wouldn't be worth
$1,000 for sure, and so I would say like go affordable, and it's still gonna get you what you want, which is like the push on your legs for 30 minutes or whatever.
What about massage guns? Matt has one, I know for sure.
I have a couple.
Yep. Ian, do you have any?
No.
Lance,
My wife has one. I never used it.
is it one of those Theragun?
It's a Theragun knockoff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like the Costco one?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should like try it if you're like on the calves or something like that. I think that's helpful. My kids with swimming and stuff, they'll like bring it to the swim meets and stuff, and so it's been a good purchase.
Yeah, to work out, yeah.
It's been a good purchase. I mean, it's all about like everyone else using it, right? Like it's not, if it were just for me, it probably would not have been a smart purchase. But the fact that everyone used it, kind of same thing with what like Jake was saying with like his whole family using this.
Yeah, we've got one that Air Relax makes as well. I think it's called like the Hammers or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was all right. It's got a long cord that's attached to it, so that's the downside. It's not portable.
Okay.
So it's not as
portables.
easy to use. And I got it for a song. It was one of those things where I would be dumb not to purchase this, but I did probably 10 years ago have a DMS unit. It's the deep muscle stimulator.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those before?
Yeah.
Those were originally made for racehorses, and then they adopted it and started using it for people. And they're so aggressive that you actually have to fold up a hand towel or something like that and put it between you and the gun so that it doesn't like compression you too much. But that thing worked wonders. I love that thing. But I ended up selling it because, again, it was one of those things. I'm like, this thing was too much. I don't use it enough. I'm just going to move it on down the road. And somebody gladly bought it for exactly what I paid for it. I'm like, hey, done deal. And haven't really used them much since. But there is value there. But it's just not something that I don't know. All right, let's move on to our next thing.
Wait, breaking news.
What?
I've got breaking news. This is Champ Bailey. Breaking in.
Get out of here, Champ Bailey. Can't just interrupt our podcast like this.
Smash your face into a car with
Perfect.
and then
Hold on.
take your mother Dorothy Mantooth out for a nice seafood dinner and never call her again.
Love it. Leave Dorothy out of this.
The first race in the Lifetime Grand Prix Fitness happened today, and the race just finished.
Ooh, that is breaking
news. This is at Sea Otter. It's called the Fuego XL. It's a long 100K mountain bike race. And take a wild guess who won the men's elite.
Oh, geez. Again?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Keegan Swenson wins again.
thank
Guess
you.
who's second? Who just freaking crushed it last year? Again, Alexei Vermeulen.
Okay.
So
How
started
much
off
did
hot.
Keegan win by?
1 minute. Actually, 50 seconds. I take that back. So he was not a runaway with it, but 50 seconds back. Keegan first, Alexei second, Matthew Beers third, Cole Patton fourth.
Did his girlfriend win on the women's side?
Yes, she did.
Oh, boy. It's
So-
a family affair.
Yeah. She got a little bit
Dynasty.
farther away. Let me see. Women's Elite, it was won by Sofia Gomez Villafane. She won by almost 2 minutes over Alexis Scarda.
Was Dylan Johnson there?
Dylan Johnson was there.
Friend of the podcast.
Yep. He was actually on the podcast. It just came out my time hop 3 years ago today.
3 years? Okay.
Or like
Seriously?
today or yesterday, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
He was fun.
Yeah,
he was
good,
fun on the
good guy.
podcast.
Maybe I'll have to get him back on.
I'm not seeing him in the first 25.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh.
That's too bad. Braden Lang,
Okay.
13th.
Oh, look at that.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is friends with Scott Troutman,
Yes.
who's been on the podcast before too. So
And Braden Lang lived here in Camas for a little while.
yes, sir.
Payson McKelvin, 6th. He finally had a decent result at
Okay.
a Lifetime race. That's all. Champ out. Back to the list.
Get out of here, champ.
All right. The next one on the list, Matt can speak to this one pretty well. Smartwatches.
Smartwatches.
Why
Get-
would
get
you
you
want to
one.
have a smartwatch as a cyclist? And is
I
that
think-
something that you're going to wear
I
while
don't-
you're cycling?
I don't think that you have to have one for cycling specifically, but if you have one, it's nice to have a backup. And the other thing is, a lot of people ask me, like, should I buy a Garmin because I have a Garmin computer? I think you can go either way. I don't think you need to lock yourself into a specific brand, because the way I look at it is, like, I post, everything gets moved eventually to like Strava. And that's kind of where I think to myself, like, okay, this is what I actually did. Whereas like Garmin, I might use, you might use a Garmin bike computer and then not use the Garmin watch. And so did you really do anything if you did something different, like you go for a run or something? Back to the point of, like, should people get a smartwatch if they're cyclists? I don't think it's a must have, but I think it's a nice to have. One, you can have backup for doing stuff. Two, it's a lot better at tracking your health, sleep, all that stuff.
So those are the two main things that I've used all of the time. Now, back when I used to ride bikes, if my computer was going to die, and it died, and it has died before, you just go down to your watch and you hit go, and you're on cycling, and then you can stitch the ride together later. Yeah. There's plenty of software and websites that could do that for you, and then you've got a complete ride profile. I can remember doing like a firmware update on one of my bike computers at some point in time, and the thing just totally crapped the bed, and I could see that it was doing that while I was using it, and I tried recycling and starting it. I'm like, screw it, I'll just turn it off, and I just got the watch going, and I was fine. And
what's nice about the Garmins that you guys have is they'll pick up on your radar too.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just nice.
Yeah. So I have a Garmin Epix smartwatch, and I use a Wahoo computer. But if I forget my computer, then I will use my watch. So I do that quite often. Plus, when I raced cyclocross, I just used my watch because you have a pit bike, and I don't switch bike computers between pit bikes. So I would always just race with my watch. So it kind of gave me a better other option.
You ride like this the whole time.
Yes, just with my arm
One
in
hand
front of
on
my
the,
face,
one hand
staring
on the
at it.
pedal, and one hand to close to the eyes. And
Quite, I don't. If I'm doing an off-road race, I do not look at my computer except for elevation profiles. Yeah, I find that it's not helpful to me. I don't look at power numbers because if it's an hour and 20-minute race, I'm just going as hard as
RPE, yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
a little bit different.
And the other thing that Matt touched on would be your recovery numbers, like your sleep scores, your sleeping, and all of that other fun stuff. It's a really good metric for me personally to use, and that's something I get a lot of enjoyment out of. The Garmin has a really cool little morning report that you can kind of cycle through.
I
It gives you
love the
some good
morning
feedback.
report.
So,
Yep.
You get your sleep score, you get your HRV status, you get your training for the day, you get your body battery score, all these things.
I feel like I don't need one. I think I would like to have one just because I like those kind of gadgets. But but my head unit on my bike with my heart rate strap on my chest, it gives me all the data I need.
It does.
And then for a backup, I still have my phone in my back pocket.
Good
So
point, yeah.
I just fire up the Strava app and take it from there. But yeah, I'd like to have one.
Yeah.
Not needed, in my opinion.
I use it
that's good.
for other stuff too, just because I like to track the things that I do. So, like for long walks or hikes or stand up paddle boarding or things of that nature, I can go track that kind of stuff, which is
that's
kind of
true.
neat. And I don't
And
have to carry around my Garmin with me.
If you're one of those people that likes to post their dog walks on Strava and
I've
stuff,
done that
then-
before. Guilty.
Yep.
Yep.
then-
Gym time, dog walks.
Now that's one thing I don't do. I don't post on the gym.
I've posted a few stretching and core routines, and then I realized this is dumb. I'm not. People don't need to know them.
They do. They want to know.
Everybody-
Did you do core today?
I
Let me
did.
check Strava.
I did do core this morning.
Did you? Good
I
for
did
you,
not
man.
put it on Strava.
Oh,
Now, if you are in the market for getting one of these things, one of these smartwatches, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you look into getting one that has a flashlight.
oh yeah.
Oh
I
my
love that.
Lord, I use it every
On the watch?
single
Yeah.
day, multiple times a day.
Joe,
So-
look at. He's got a flashlight. I don't have one. I'm
Oh,
got an old model
sad.
without a flashlight.
So I no joke, I literally use this every single day, all of the time, and then it's cool too because I can actually switch it over to a red light so that it like if it's at nighttime, if I've got to get up and find something, I need to see. I don't want to cause my pupils to dilate because whatever I want to be able to see. Just put on the red mode. It's pretty quick. There's a different function that I have set up that I can just hit the red and it's a red light. So
Do you sell those things in the lab?
yeah. And
They're
I think
expensive.
some of the newer ones have come out with flashlights, maybe or not.
Yes, the years
265.
Garmin. Well, the
maybe, or
one
no?
that there's a good one to no, not the 265. There's something called the Garmin Instinct
Oh,
2X.
Maybe that's what I was thinking.
And that one, I mean, theoretically, Garmin eventually will do a Garmin Instinct 3. But a lot of the newer devices from Garmin, I think, are going to have this flashlight. I think it was so popular.
That's one thing on a watch that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then you use it, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, how do I live without this thing?
No joke. I use it every single day, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
I even use it like when you're trying to see something real quick on, like if you're looking for some really small fine print or whatnot, you turn that on. You use it for all kinds of stuff. If you're working on a bike, then you need to like look a little bit closer, need a little bit more light. It's right there.
It's so handy.
in a restaurant to read the menu when you're over 50-year-old. You have to like pull out your stupid flashlight on your phone because you can't read the menu, right?
Now, Lance
Ian?
is the guy that turns on the flashlight on his phone, and then he opens up his camera, and then he zooms in on it so he can see it. Is that what
That's
you're doing?
right. Yeah, because I refuse to wear glasses.
Don't ever give
I
up.
used to have a glasses app on my phone.
Oh, really?
Specifically for that.
For reading menus in restaurants.
Just
Old Guys
magnifies
Podcast.
But if you think about it, like the fact that you have like reach into your pocket and pull something out versus just like three,
Yes.
it's like 2 clicks on your, and it's so fast to have that flashlight. It's handy. Highly recommend it. The cheapest Garmin I think that has it is probably that Garmin Instinct 2X with the flashlight. That's my guess.
Recall what those run? I'm drawing a blank. It was like $400 or $500.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
right
the
in there.
cheapest.
Yep, that's the cheapest one that has that, and that's a really nice watch with a lot of it's very full featured.
The
So,
new Epics, they're around $1,000.
Yeah,
Is that right?
that's right.
Yeah, that's
You can get the least expensive one
the
for
other thing that turns-
$1,000 or $900, something like that.
Yeah.
The more expensive one's about $1,100.
The other reservation I have is just one more thing to
It's one more
charge
thing.
up.
I only have to
I
charge
got
my
so many things, so many batteries involved in my.
once a month.
yeah, but these last
Once
for a month.
A month.
yeah,
And I don't like wearing my watch in the shower because I don't want it to get wet and it's, I don't know, it just squeaks,
that's
makes
smart.
So I have a thing that's plugged into my bathroom charger thing. And every time I take a shower, I just plug it in and
which is once a month also.
yeah, pretty much.
I just find it infuriating every time I go out on my bike, as one of my many batteries is usually
Yeah.
low or out.
Well, you
something.
can typically connect your head unit to that, and that should tell you if you're starting to get low battery stuff. So, I mean, you can check
What
it.
I think you would like potentially is some of the sleep tracking stuff, like overnight HRV. Like if you kind of start tracking that, if you see like something weird spike up, you can think like, oh, maybe I'm sick or whatever. You might enjoy that data.
I did have a Whoop strap for a little while, and I stopped the subscription on that. But that it was interesting.
Yeah. That's the same thing. Same data there.
I just got tired of it nagging me that I wasn't getting enough sleep. So that's good.
True.
All right. You guys ready for the next one?
Yes.
Good. All right.
What you got?
Bone conduction headphones.
I think
Conduction headphones. Don't buy AirPods. Bone conduction headphones.
I like my AirPods better than bone conductive headphones.
Are you going to wear those on a
Generally
bike?
speaking, I will not wear them on a bike.
That's my point.
And someone that's wearing something that's covering both ears is gonna get a shame from me. Shame on you.
So bone conduction headphones.
Bone conducted headphones where you got the open ears and you can actually hear things is a good thing. You use AirPods, don't you, Lance?
I use AirPods on every single solo ride.
But you
I do.
use one, and I bet you keep.
No,
you do
he's wrong
two?
both.
I use two.
Oh,
The
Lance.
AirPods Pro have ambient sound
that you
on
can
them.
pump in, which
So
is good.
you can hear the sound around you. It's kind of funny. If one of them dies, the ambient sound goes away, and all of a sudden you can't hear any ambient sound on the other side. And then I just take them out because I want to be able to hear. But I generally don't listen to music unless I'm doing intervals.
Yeah.
But if I'm generally listening to podcasts, and usually if I'm listening to a podcast, I can hear the traffic stuff around me. But I know I don't use bone conduction.
How many times has one fallen out while you were riding? Honestly,
Twice.
really?
And that's mountain biking. So I wear them for all solo rides.
Okay.
The only time I've lost them is when I'm wearing thick winter gloves and I go to try to turn them down or turn it off, and because the fingers are so thick, I flipped one out.
Yeah.
But other than that, they've never fallen out. So it's happened twice.
Have you used the bone? You've used the bone conductive.
I have. I have a pair of the bone conduction ones, and I don't like them as much as I'm not the right person to ask for this because I like the AirPods better.
I like the
bone
AirPods
conduction.
better too.
I'm sure they sound better.
They do sound better.
They
But
sound
we're
better.
talking about
They're
two things here. We're talking about safety,
Yes.
and we're talking about not losing them.
yes.
and yeah, there's a couple things going on there with the bone conduction headphones that I just enjoy quite a bit more. Also, it's a lot cleaner. Like how much earwax are you digging out of those things?
Yeah. There's
white.
always-
White is an odd color choice.
I know.
Because it's not just the AirPods themselves, which mine look fine, but it's like the case and stuff for some reason.
Everything's white,
Everything's white. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a bad choice.
Apple
and
ecosystem.
I still kill a pair every year.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Are they under warranty?
Not after a year.
I think you would probably get more life out of. I mean, it's up to you. You do you, man. But like, you would probably get more life out of the bone conductive ones.
I know I would.
I've had
but
mine.
They wouldn't be as good.
Shocks. I've had
Yeah.
them for years now. They're fantastic.
I don't have the greatest hearing either.
What, Sonny?
What?
Of course, Lance says that, and I just immediately dig.
Immediately get
There's not
dug
going to
at.
be like a grace period for Lance on this. Okay.
So I don't have the greatest hearing, and so I couldn't hear hardly at all with the bone conduction headphones. So that made a difference to me, and maybe that's
Yeah.
I'm testing a pair right now called the Sunto Sonic, kind of boneless conductive headphones.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm like, it's okay. It's like I'm kind of spoiled with the AirPod Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever.
the sound. I mean, the sound doesn't compare the actual quality of.
But cycling, I'm
Yeah.
like, this is
But
for sure
yeah,
makes sense.
I use them.
Yeah. If you're just going about town or in your house just doing stuff and you're just trying to compare like the sound quality, yeah. If you're an audiophile, yeah, you're gonna want to go with the AirPods. For me though, I don't like the AirPods. I don't like anything that goes into my ears from Apple because they just don't fit my ears right.
Right,
They're
me
not
neither.
comfortable.
Yeah, they just
So
fall out for me.
I just all the ones that used to come with your phone back in the day, I just gave them away because I'm like, these don't work for me.
What's the price difference between? I do think that the old headphone shape and the new headphone shapes are different.
Are
so
they?
you might need to try something new. But what is the price point of something like the
Shocks you can get for anywhere between about $100 to about 140.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's reasonable.
And then the AirPod Pros are, I don't know, they're stupid expensive.
How much are they now?
I don't remember. Are they $200 for the Pros? That's the one.
I have no idea.
It is. I think they're like $290. They're like
They're
about $300,
stupid
like
expensive.
$250 or $300.
That's
You
too
can
much.
get them on sale for like
Right.
$200.
They're at Costco.
They're at Costco. Yeah, and that's where I buy
That's
mine
where you-
from.
Yeah.
Costco.
Which, so you get like last season's model, which
Yeah.
is not a big deal.
And if you have any trouble, Costco takes everything
Yeah,
back.
there you go.
so,
True, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, should we go on to the next one?
Yep.
All right, how about this? A YouTube account. We've got a big time YouTuber
This is a
here.
weird one. This is a weird one.
I think that
Big
every
time.
cyclist should have a YouTube account for multiple reasons. Matt, what are a
Shame.
few good reasons that you would say?
You post your rides and then you shame like people that are driving their cars. You shame them into behaving.
Yeah. Well, I probably should have talked about another one of the things that's on the list, but we'll get into this first. The University of YouTube is a great place. You can learn so much there if you're not using. I'm sure everybody that's listening to this probably has used YouTube at some point in time, but there's a lot of cool stuff that you can learn. There's a lot of really good, informative YouTubers out there. Some that talk about watches and
You
stuff.
could learn all about latest greatest watches
And swim goggles.
and swim goggles. People, this is a
And swim power meters.
in mall walking.
And mall.
This is like my whole channel is just going to take a turn.
Yeah.
What
But-
corduroys are you supposed to wear?
So-
which ones, Lance? Tune in to find
Flame
out.
retardant ones.
One,
Yes. Tune in next week to find out.
One of the things that Matt talked about a long time ago on this podcast, and he's talked about on his YouTube channel before, that has always like rung true with me, and I've always appreciated that he says this to people all the time, is like he is always encouraging people to start their own channel and post rides and tell stories and talk about the things that they know and share, and all of the things, like put it out there. If you're into triathlon, if you're into running, if you're into cycling, whatever it is, put that content out there, and people are going to enjoy that, and it's just going to grow our community, and we can learn from each other, and people will start watching it, and hopefully you can share those videos with other people that maybe don't ride bikes and maybe get them interested in riding bikes or have them have an appreciation for cyclists around the road. I mean, there's just so many different things that you can gain from
Well, I
starting a YouTube
think
channel.
you're either a natural content creator or not. I mean, I don't find it easy to create content, and having I have a YouTube account,
Yep.
but I probably posted like 3 videos total ever, and I just don't find it easy to make something.
Is it the
I guess I'm
editing
just not
process?
creative. Though,
Yeah. It doesn't have to be super creative. If you look at the likes of like the NorCal cycling guys that puts out the race videos from Alviso and all the different crit racing, his stuff isn't super technical. All he'll do is just go in there and splice up his videos to get to the action parts. I mean, yes, he does have some overlays, but if you look at the earlier stuff, it's progressed a little bit over the course of time, and you just have to do it. And the more you do it, the more consistent you are, the easier it's going to get, and the more creative you can get. And you can see what's going to work, and people will appreciate that stuff. The people that put out these race videos, they get a ton of views. They do really well, and people enjoy them.
I would follow you guys.
I watch cycling videos on YouTube every day.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm watching like mountain bike skills videos. I'm watching race results videos.
so much
I'm watching race strategy, road racing strategy, gravel racing strategy, mountain biking stuff.
Yeah.
So
you should set up your own YouTube channel as a reaction.
There you
Lance
go.
reacts to other people's riding videos. Totally.
that's I should do something like that.
Gotcha. Anything else that you guys want to add to the YouTube reason why people should consider getting a YouTube account?
Put up a channel so I can subscribe.
Yeah, and if you do put up a channel, share it with us so that we
Yeah.
can look at it, talk at it, and critique it. Or
I've
comment on
learned
it,
a
or
lot.
react to it.
I have learned a lot from it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for sure. It has helped me tremendously.
Yeah, there's parts of things that I do professionally that I'm not going to say it's 100%, but it's in the 90% wise of that's where I gather my information from. It's some trial and error and whatnot. And it's a good thing. All right. The next one, AirTags. The whole world has AirTags. Why should cyclists obviously have AirTags?
We should say if you're on the Apple ecosystem, because whatever in the US, it's like whatever 50% is on Android. In the worldwide, it's much, much more than that.
What's the other thing that's an AirTag? It's square or
Yeah, there's something called
brick
Tile.
or tile. That's it. Yeah. So an AirTag or Tile or something that
Yes.
works on either of the networks. They have their own mesh network kind of thing that they all work on. And what are some benefits as to why people, other than the low hanging fruit of like you could put it on your bike and find bike thieves?
I keep an AirTag on my bikes for that very reason. Yep. And one of the things I like about it is when I'm traveling with my bike, and it's in my bike case, when I land in the new place, I can see immediately if my bike
Right.
made it
Yep.
on the plane, which is in the right airport. Yeah.
Which, basically we'll just say like luggage in general.
Yes, I keep one in my checked luggage
Right.
too for the same reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because I've seen stories of people keeping AirTags in their luggage, and then the airline tells them, "Oh no, it's here, and this is what happened." And like, they're watching the AirTag. No, that's not what happened. This is what happened, and they're straight up lied to them. But when we came home from Tucson, remember, like Chris Surratt had the whole fiasco of not being able to get on the
Yes.
flight on time and whatnot. So like we were kind of seeing him on the Find My app, but I was also watching my bike, which never left the actual like the terminal where we checked it in at, and never got put on the plane. And we flew away. I'm like, bye bike. So as soon as I got back, I contacted them, and they actually delivered it to my house at something like 2:00 in the morning that night.
Oh, wow.
Which was kind of cool. Which wasn't kind of cool though, because then I had to get up and go bring
Go
it off
get
my
the bike.
porch and bring it inside because I didn't want to leave it on the porch all night. But at least it made it back.
It's good to know where your stuff is.
Yeah. Any other
AirTags.
use cases of why you would want to have an AirTag on your bike?
Yeah, I mean, like, well, the obvious, like, get stolen, and if it gets stolen, then it's nice to be able to. I think thieves are probably wised up to that at this point, because it'll beep if you
They make noise.
Yeah. There are people, like, you can find this online on how to disable the speaker on an AirTag.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, so you've got to be a little bit careful when you do that. But if that's what you're going for and you don't want something beeping, then there's the option. Remember, you like had my bike in your van for a while, and it was just like beeping, like you're being tracked.
Yeah, and it tells me on my phone, Matt's bike is trying to, it's following you or something. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with the Nog Scout bike alarm and finder?
Yes. The thing looks awesome.
Those
I haven't
things are
used
pretty
it,
cool.
but
Yeah, we've got a bunch of them in the lab.
Yeah.
I honestly still never used one. It just didn't work with the bottle cage on my particular bike because it's got a very specialized frame-specific bottle cage, and would not sit in there all that great. But I'm sure there's a different way to put it on there. But
was there one from Muck Off that was like the same kind of idea, but they had like discolored. They made the original product was like hot pink or something. Or
it actually attaches on the inside of your tire, if I'm not mistaken, and it's like attached to the valve stem inside the tire. You put the AirTag in there.
One of the companies made like one that went under your bottle cage, and it was like a super crazy color. And I was like, dude, the whole point of this is to be subtle.
Stealth.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I thought it was Muck Off.
I think Muck Off does make one of those as well. But this Nog Scout Finder thing's pretty cool too, because it also has an alarm. So if anybody goes up and moves your bike, it sends off an ear-piercing alarm. And what are they going to take your bike if you're in that vicinity? Probably not. They're probably going to grab somebody else's bike that doesn't make that noise and jet out. So anyway, and that works with the Find My network. So again, that's going to be an Apple-specific thing. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, good product. And I also think that there's a guy named Shane Miller. He has a YouTube channel called GP Llama, and he likes to test these things, and he's very fun about it. So he'll do like range tests.
Yeah, he did a great video on all the best spots to put it and the spots you shouldn't put it. Yeah, that one was a good one to watch.
Where to put it.
Cool.
Where to put it on your bike.
All right, the next one is going to be an action camera. Now, you've got your radars now that have cameras built into them, but
The action camera's not so good on the radars.
no, that's not really an action camera either. It just so happens to have a camera that's it's functional.
It's really functional for if you get hit, then you have some footage.
Yeah,
but like, I think what Jake's probably leaning towards is like an action cam for seeing the flogging ride and seeing something funny that happened and all the fun stuff that's not necessarily getting
Lance
hit by a
flipping
car.
you off behind.
Yeah.
So GoPro or Insta360 or the
DJI
or the
DJI,
DJI or doesn't GoPro make a 360 one as
They do.
well?
360 Max, but that thing's been around forever and a day.
I would not pick that one up.
Yeah, they're getting their lunch handed to them. The new Insta360 X4 that just came out
It came out like
2 days ago, 3 days ago.
just a few days ago.
That thing is sharp. I want to get my hands on one to play with it. Now that it's got the 8K, I'm just kind of curious, like how good that resolution looks once you frame it up the way that you want to frame it. So
I have an Insta360. It's like the X2 or something like
So
that.
do I,
it's,
yeah.
it's quite old, and it is a great option for the bike just because you don't have to do anything. You put it somewhere and like you can reframe your shot afterwards,
it's
which is nice. Whereas a GoPro, you really have to point it. And I do use GoPros a lot. I think the quality is really good. And it's just kind of bomb proof, and I just kind of grab it and go. So I tend to gravitate towards that as opposed to having the extra workflow of reframing your shots. It's like, well, if I'm going to point this thing here, that's what I want to film. But
Yeah, the Insta360 does have a few new modes on it that came out with the X3 called the Me mode, if I'm not mistaken. So it will follow a person. So if you have it like on the back of your bike, it'll follow the person that's back there and kind of take out some of that like extra work of the framing. But it also has like facial recognition, and you just put a square around that and say, hey, follow this, and then wherever that person goes, it'll follow you. So it'll help you through the process. And the editing process itself, it's not that bad. It's not that tedious if you're using their software program or even your phone, which is kind of cool.
It's an extra step. Like if I'm going out to film, let's say a bike computer, and I'm going to go film this thing to put on some YouTube thing, I'm going to bring a GoPro.
Are you?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Because I can like point it right where I want it, hand it to a friend, have that filming piece to it. Whereas if I'm going out for a ride and I don't know what I'm looking for, the Insta360 makes a lot of sense. The other time that I really enjoyed the Insta360 camera was filming the radar stuff, because I really wanted to show traffic passing.
Yep.
And kind of like what that looked like, which is kind
and
of
that almost takes two cameras if you want to do it with like a traditional GoPro almost. But if you have the Insta360, you can reframe everything, so you can actually like duplicate your clip, and you can have one that's going to be on the car and the other one's going to be on the radar, and then that's like having two cameras. Or if you want to have it like move around while you're doing that, you can keyframe it and show different things going on.
I had an Insta360 off the back, so you can see the radar and you can see cars, and then a GoPro up front to film the computer showing you the data.
Yeah, that's actually the optimal setup if you ask me, for a couple reasons. If you've got one of each, if you put the Insta360 up front, I'm sorry if I'm boring people here, but for whatever reason, I don't know what frequency that works on, but whatever it's emitting, it causes issues with the bike computers where it actually causes them not to be able to get the GPS connection.
It's GPS interference.
Exactly. So if you're running that under there, it screws up your rides. I've noticed that with the Wahoo. I've noticed that with the Garmin, and I can't remember if I tested that on the Hammerhead or not, but I've had other people tell me the same thing. Like Sarah Gates, who's been on the podcast before, had the same issues. So I was noticing that as well. If I put like on an extension and it's not sitting right underneath the camera,
it's about 40 feet out in front of you while you bike, just kind of dragging.
Well, I've got some that are like just like as much as like 3 or 4 inches. That does help a little bit, but it was kind of like still a little bit of a hit and miss kind of thing.
Usually with GPS interference, it's if you've got like an extra 4 or 5 inches, it's all it takes to get away from the other device.
Gotcha.
But I could see being right underneath having a problem.
But if I had the GoPro facing forward and I had the Insta360 camera on the back, it's kind of fun because you can get a full view of everything going on behind you, and then you can turn around and look at your butt if you want to. But and on the front, you've got all that.
That's the whole reason I have it.
The only thing that sucks though is if you wanted to be able to look at yourself, like your face and like maybe faces that you're making or suffering or whatnot, like the Insta360 would do a fantastic job of that, whereas the GoPro, it's just not faced at you. So, but
the thing about the Insta360, it's kind of a cumbersome shape, though, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and the new one is even bigger.
It's a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit thicker, a little bit longer. So, but the picture, the resolution that you get out of that thing is pretty stinking spectacular. So, I want to get my hands on one. I think Lance, we'll start doing some more reviews of that kind of stuff on the old Dialed Cycling channel, because I would love it for those people to love us and send us things to test out so that we can have them.
But, we need to do that.
We'll get there one of these days. But yeah, I think that for a lot of different reasons, I think having an action camera is pretty awesome for safety reasons, for fun reasons. And, sometimes if you're going and exploring something new, I mean, it's kind of neat to be able to just archive that footage and just have it. Like if you see some pretty cool stuff. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had like deer run out and whatnot. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I remember I was riding around Detroit Lake with, is it Detroit Lake? Yeah, it was Detroit Lake down in Oregon with Edward Dudlick, and we're doing this big long gravel ride, and we're just on this awesome little forest road, and like this mama deer runs out on the trail and the baby deer runs around the trail. They're like maybe 30, 40 meters out in front of us, and they're just like bouncing down the trail. We're just following them down the road. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool footage that I've got there. So that's always kind of fun to see that kind of stuff, and then you capture it and it's fun.
I was riding with Hannel up the Scappoose, the Banks Vernonia Trail, something like that.
Sure.
We ran into a whole herd of elk.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
those are big boys.
Yeah, and we kept spooking more because it was a whole herd of them. And, and we didn't get any pictures of it because I wasn't running a camera.
And again, back when I used to ride bicycles, that is, I would always have my cameras on there for a bunch of different reasons, and there's a couple things that came of that. I could go back in post, and you can actually pull a pretty high resolution picture from these cameras, like the GoPros and the Insta360s, that actually make for a pretty interesting picture, which is kind of fun for me because I love pictures and I can just archive this stuff. But it's fun to post it on your Strava as well.
Sure.
But you can also post the video. Granted, yes, that is a little bit more of a pain in the butt because you got to pull the video off, you've got to chop it down, you've got to export it, you got to put it up on the Strava. That's a bit more. But it is pretty easy to grab that stuff now just off of the phone app, and you can just save it to your phone and then upload it to your thing, and it's good to go there. But another thing is like you're gonna have the ability to, like, let's say you're doing the flogging ride. And you can, like, if something goes wrong, if somebody touches wheels, or if there's some sort of like controversial thing that happens, you can go back and check the tapes. You've got that. But also, if you're going to do a route and maybe you want to put that out there for the world, like, let's say you've got a race, like Ian, you're going to potentially be doing Barton Park. Not potentially, you are doing Barton Park. Like, I'm sure that there are some videos out there, but maybe it would be nice to take your bike down there and go do a lap around Barton Park so people can see what they're up against, and you can put that video out there, and that's a good way to share information.
It's already in work. I'm going to be doing that next week.
Sweet.
Especially the last mile and a half before the finish. There's a long straightaway, and then the pivotal key climb. So I'm going to be posting that up for sure.
Gotcha. And I guess the last thing is if you start that YouTube channel, this is a good way to get that information.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. Unless, Matt, you got anything you want to say about action cameras? Anything else?
I think we got to keep moving. We're going quite slowly through our list of 10.
Yes, we are. We're getting a little long in the tooth. All right, let's keep this thing going. All right, an InReach. Garmin InReach. Why would we want to steal that from the hiking community?
When we started this podcast, I was like, Lance, you need this. Please. I was like, please buy one of these.
I do take Garmin InReach is a little tiny satellite messenger that you can send a message via satellite where your location is, or if you get into trouble, so that if you're in a place where there's no cell signal, like most national parks, you have a way to connect if you get into trouble. And so I use them. I put it in my pocket every time that I go on a ride where I'm going to be losing phone coverage, or if I think I'm going to be losing phone coverage. They're like $300 or $400 to buy them. They're not that expensive. But you need a
subscription, right?
Yeah.
And you can like get a one-off for a month, I believe.
You
right?
can.
If
you can turn on
and
turn off the subscription as you need to. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
Great idea. I don't have one myself. I did get one for my daughter because she is out in those remote locations. She goes to Moab, Utah, and she's a photographer. She's out in these really remote locations, and there's no coverage. She drives out there, so a little peace of mind. I could definitely use one myself out on the road. There's a lot of places where you have no other means of getting in touch with somebody. So definitely.
Gotcha. Anything else to add to that one?
Nope.
Sweet. That's a good one. Another one that I really like, and again, this might be just a very me and Matt centric kind of thing, but I think that there's a lot of cool little benefits to it, and they're very small and easy to take with you. A drone. I think drones are super cool. You guys have probably never flown one, so you don't know the joys of like what you can see and do with those things, but I can come up with several different reasons. One of them, you can get a good aerial view of where you're at. Maybe if you need to kind of see what's going on, or maybe where a road connects or something like that, you throw the drone up in the air and you can see exactly where you're supposed to be going and whatnot. So you can look at it from that perspective. You can get some super cool videos and pictures from that. And they've got a lot of cool features in them, especially the DJI ones, where you can like actually like put a little box around you and you can tell you, hey, follow this person, and you put it in your bag and you ride and start riding. You get some really cool video of you doing your things. And then if there's ever a situation where you're missing somebody and maybe somebody went off a trail or got hurt or whatnot, it's something that you can use for search and rescue. So, and
there seems to be so many places where you're not allowed to fly drones now. I mean,
true.
National parks, right? I would think.
Yeah.
And also
near
like
airports.
near airports. Portland International Raceway, I guess. I mean, I was thinking how great it would be to have a drone up above the finish line at one of these bunch sprints and be able to get footage of that. But I don't think you're allowed to fly them.
Some promoters don't like them because if it fails and it falls into the field.
Yeah.
But then again,
they had a problem with that in the Olympics, I think, at one point.
But most, like all the cyclocross races last year, they had drones following the leaders through the trees. It was like the best
UCI,
footage.
the
UCI did it. Yeah.
Didn't we call that Tom Pidcock or something like that? Isn't that what they called him?
Because it was always chasing. Because it was never in the lead, it was always chasing. They called the drone Pidcock.
I don't know. You're right. You can't take them into national parks, and there's a lot of no-no zones in there. But
Columbia River Gorge, you can't take them in down to the gorge, I don't think, either.
I think you can. I have before.
I'd be surprised. I know, like, as you get close to Portland Airport, there's zones that are no-go. In fact, I wonder if even at Lance's house, I question. It's like you're getting closer to the airport. You're getting closer.
Yeah,
You might
it
have
will
some issues.
limit like how high you can go and whatnot, and you're always supposed to keep them in line of sight as well. But a lot of times when you fly a drone, the DJI drones have so much technology built into them, and they know exactly where everything's at because everything's GPS based, and they know if you're within a certain proximity to an airspace. It will tell you like, hey, you can't fly here, or B, you can only fly this high, or C, you need to be super careful because there are airplanes that are going to be in the area. So it's good about that.
But you're right about national parks for sure. Or most of the major national parks, as far as I know,
That's
don't
a
allow.
big fine and possibly even jail time if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, but they're super fun, and I've taken them up on Larch Mountain. I've taken them in several of them. I've taken them with me on camping trips and gotten some really cool stuff from them. So I think there's something there. And the DJI Mini 4 Pro that I have, the thing is tiny and it really doesn't take up much of a footprint. It slides in your back pocket if you need to, or you can put it in like a, your Uswe or Camelback backpack, and it really doesn't take up much of a footprint there. And
then do you attach your GoPro to it, or does it have its own camera?
It's got its own camera.
camera.
Yeah, and that little DJI Mini 4 Pro has a fantastic camera. It's not as nice as the Mavics, but it's pretty stinking close. And given how small it is, I think that
DJI,
DJI.
Yeah, they make
the brand.
action cameras as well, and they make and drones is probably their biggest thing.
Yeah.
So is that 4 Pro new? Because I don't think I knew you had that.
I had the 3 and I sold it to get the 4. I think that was probably, it's probably been almost a year now.
Okay.
So I don't know.
One of the things I haven't really done much is like track myself.
That's fun.
It's funny because like I fly drones probably as much as anyone I know.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff I haven't like done yet.
So Matt takes some pretty spectacular pictures with his drone. Matt, would you like to tell people where they can go see said pictures on the old Instagrams?
Instagram.com/Matt_Legrand.
And then
there's a lot of drone pictures there.
You are
and I also have the Lacamas Lake.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're interested in Lacamas Lake or pictures of Lacamas Lake, Instagram.com/Lacamas Lake.
Yeah, cool stuff.
The lake photos, sunrise, sunset, typically. That's like over and over again. I take the same shot. My wife's like, it's getting a little old. I'm like,
So listener,
honey, check out this awesome picture. Yeah, I saw that 14 times. No, I
know.
Don't stop what you're doing, dude. People appreciate that. So.
I'm not going to stop. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
so
sweet. All right, let's move on. The next one would be a Slack account. Why would somebody need to have a Slack account?
To join the Dialed Cycling Slack group.
The Dialed Cycling Club. We have the Dialed Cycling Club has a Slack channel where you can get on and get all the information from the rides
What do
we
you
do.
What do you like to read about on Slack? There, do you read about team rides? Do you read about team people selling stuff? Do you read about?
We have a couple of different Slack accounts.
Where
one
can
that
we
is
find
team related
Lance?
and one's with club related. And the club related stuff has people selling stuff, rides that are happening, local deals that might happen.
I only ever go on to see the Lance podium pictures.
Plenty of podium
do you
pictures.
post pictures?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, the Slack account, it's actually pumping along pretty well. I mean, we're adding people, like multiple people a week, which has been pretty cool. And it's kind of a neat place where people can just go and share information. And it's kind of neat to see people kind of come alive in there as well and start to connect with other people so that you're creating community. And that's really what the main purpose of that was, is to build community and give people like a portal to talk that wasn't built around a social media platform. So it's like its own little insular thing. Yeah. If you're not interested in our Slack and whatnot, and you wanted to, why is this applicable to me? Well, if you've got like your own little local group or you've got some people, you can create a free Slack account. And it's a great way to communicate with each other. If you're not interested in giving out like your personal information, your home phone number or your cell phone or, address and all that stuff, but you still want to connect to a community, or you want a good way to manage a community that's not going to be full of like email chains and group text messages that can be quite annoying. It's a great way to go. We've found tremendous success with that. And it was off of the recommendation from another cycling team that told me about like, hey, you should look into this. I'm like, you know what? We are looking for something. And I have kind of dabbled with the idea of Slack, but tell me a little bit more about it. And they went through everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, we absolutely need to do that. We reached out to Slack because we are a 501c3 nonprofit, our cycling team. And they said, yeah, we've got something for you. They gave us 250 free pro accounts to use for our team to use, which is really stinking cool. And I think those things are like $6 per person per month. So if you do the math for our team, that adds up to be quite a bit of money every single month that we're saving. So it's kind of cool. But I think it's been a game changer for us. We're still dealing with some people, even though we've been using it for 2 years, that are kind of slow to adopt it and get on it or be regular. But as time goes by, it's proven to be worth its weight. So it's good. And then we've got the club component, and it's not tied to a 501c3 kind of a thing. And it's there are some limitations. Basically, you get everything. It just like drops off information that's older than 3 months. It will basically just blur it out. And if you want to pay for that pro account, you can get that stuff. But if you're looking to find a good way to manage your team that's not going to be through, again, email, messages and all that other fun stuff, and then text messages, and you don't want to use like a Facebook group because a lot of people are getting away from Facebook, this is a great alternative to that. So I think
it has been great for our team, for sure.
For sure. All right. And then the last thing, we talked about a lot of electronics, right? A lot of things that need to have batteries charged. You can get some pretty stinking cool battery packs that you can take with you and have with you.
What's the one that you and I were talking about? Do we remember the name of it?
I don't, but it's got a MagSafe magnet on it, so it sticks to the back of your cell.
I'm going to
Your
Amazon.
Apple
I'm
cell
going
phone.
to look at my history of my Amazon.
And they're
see what
cheap.
it is.
And you can plug other things into it.
Oh,
as
I
well.
don't think it was that cheap. I think it was $50 or $60 or something.
Was it? Was it an Anchor? Was it Anchor?
it was Anchor,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you can get those things on sale for like $35 or $40 from time
I think
to time.
I bought it on Amazon Prime Day or something.
Yeah, if you can time it right.
Yeah.
Black Friday, stuff like that.
I've seen them cheap on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh.
Get it before TikTok gets
sales.
banned. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's the Anchor 10,000 milliamp magnetic battery is the one that I have, and I absolutely love it. I've convinced a couple people to pick it up.
Sweet.
The newer one that they have is $70, so that's a little pricey. But that one has like a little display to it, and mine doesn't have a display to it. I wonder if you and I.
So it
have
gives
the
you
same
like a
one.
percentage
Are
of
they
the
heavy?
extra.
Don't they
Yeah,
weigh
they weigh as much as a phone.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. The
But if you
older
think
one-
about it, like if you're out on a ride and your phone's getting low, and let's say you have a mechanical or something happens, I've had it happen to me before in the past where my phone died, and I was on a ride and I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque and I was home 3 hours later than I should have been. Nobody could get a hold of me. I had no way to charge that. If I had had a battery pack with me, that wouldn't have been an issue. So there's that. And then, if your radar dies or your head unit dies and you want to stop for a few minutes, maybe try and charge it or figure out a way to like attach it to your bike and then plug it in, that can be done. If you're Mr. Ultra guy, that's another thing to consider.
Yeah, I've seen.
Doesn't Garmin make something that sits under your
do.
head
They
unit
do.
between the
They do.
your head unit
And
and
battery
the mount?
pack.
Battery pack, yeah.
Yep.
And most of, all of their newer computers are compatible with that. You don't have to have like a super expensive computer to have that, but it goes on the bottom of your mount. So computer goes on the top of the mount as expected, and then the battery pack connects in below it.
Yeah.
And you go long. You go
When
longer.
I go out on a long ride, I just run out of space to put all this stuff. Like
Yes.
I take my phone, and then it's gonna get cold, so I put my vest in my back pocket, maybe some arm warmers and gloves and food and phone chargers and phone. It kind of gets
So you start
You get it-
spreading stuff out on your
you get a
handlebar.
drone.
You don't have room to put your hands on there.
Yeah.
You get a drone.
You
that
get a
flies.
drone, you put the live track so it follows you everywhere, then you attach your bag because those things can actually carry weight. In a little satchel bag and take all this stuff and follow you around and you'll be good to go, right? Those batteries last for a long time, don't they?
No, not that way.
Yeah.
Not with.
The drone, that little DJI 4 battery lasts for almost 45 minutes.
Wow.
That's pretty bonkers. But
That is good.
all right, well, I think that's it. That's my list. Is there anything else that you guys want to add to that list that didn't get added? Or are we good?
I was thinking about this when we were going through the discussion. Strava. We haven't even that's an app that it's I don't know. Maybe that's very. It's not. I guess technically cycling specific because it could be running in other sports.
It was
but
born out of the cycling community and then spread
for
to
sure,
other sports.
absolutely. But it's if you're not using Strava, I think that's worth doing.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
You guys met through Strava.
We
Yeah.
did.
We would not all be sitting here right now if it were not for Strava.
So it's a good app.
if it's not on Strava, it didn't happen.
Exactly.
Lance didn't actually do his core
My
routine this
core
morning.
routine and stretching because I didn't put it on Strava.
Jake didn't actually walk his dog yesterday.
No. Actually, yeah. Do not. All right, let's jump into one last thing. Matt LeGrand, go.
Next week, I'm going to post a video to deal with talking about Koros stuff. Koros is a company that makes watches, and they make a whole bunch of other stuff. But like for the most part, they do watch stuff. And I think eventually they'll get into some more cycling things. But I think it's primarily like running type company. Like they'll do a lot of endurance running kind of stuff.
So you think they might dip their toe into the cycling world, huh?
Well,
I mean, kind of makes sense if you want to like.
they're not going to like announce a bike computer or anything like that, as far as I know. But next week there'll be a couple of videos on my channel about Koros. That's what's coming up. Have a look at it. I think other than that, I had a couple of swimming videos posted more recently, which I know is not exactly straight up the alleyway of our listeners, because they love those goggle talks, but
No, they just
prefer
go
the
there
more
for
cycling stuff.
Matt Legrand and a Speedo.
There you go. You can see plenty of that on the internet. My OnlyFans
My
account.
favorite.
My OnlyFans account has
Matt Legrand's
additional
OnlyFans.
material.
Only swim goggle fans.
Yeah.
All right.
Be on the lookout for that YouTube channel.
Food no.
Be on the lookout. YouTube.com/mlegrand. I think. Something like
Awesome.
that.
Cool.
Check it out.
Ian? Yeah, one last thing for us?
Ah, there we are.
Well, get your one last thing?
Yeah, I'm still working on my race, so I'm gonna take the opportunity to plug that again.
Yes.
I'll wait for this to die.
It's not. Just keep going, dude.
I'll just keep going.
It's going to go the remainder
All
of
right,
your
so-
whole talking time here.
Should people go
It's
to the race?
off-putting.
Should people sign up?
Yes,
Where should they sign up?
they should sign up on obra.org. Well,
How's-
actually, if you go to my website, dialed
Performance coaching.
performance coaching
.com.
there's a link to the Barden Park Road Race, and like just sign up and do it for me, please.
How's the weather looking? Don't know
I don't
yet.
know,
May 11th. It's
Probably going to be
We don't know yet.
epically Pacific Northwest.
3 weeks
raining.
away.
But that just
3 weeks
that
away?
just enhances it if it's raining.
Yeah.
I'll come out and watch, and I'll cheer everybody on, and I'll help promote it. But I have one stipulation.
What's that?
I get to sit at the start line with the music
With
speaker
no,
playing.
Playing
trumpets.
this.
Yes.
Okay,
I
you can
think
do
you
that.
should just do it with a real trumpet, though.
Okay. I know some people that are in a brass band. Maybe I
Okay.
can have them come out
But
and play this for you.
especially if you're on my team, if you're dialed cycling and you're apprehensive about road racing and you don't generally race your road bike, come out and do Barden Park, because it's one of those courses that it's not going to be dangerous. It's going to be tough, but it's just good,
Good, wholesome fun.
just good wholesome fun.
Yeah.
And
The last time we had that race was in 2018. It's been a few
Yes.
years since we had that race. At that race, how many people do you think showed up from our team? If I had to guess, I would say it was north of 30.
wow.
yeah, it was like 95% of the team.
Yeah, it was
Which in today's dollars, that would probably be like what 140 people. And-
maybe, yeah. But there were we had people in just about every single field, and I remember like the Masters, was it a 3-4 field, or was
yeah, something like that.
But they also sent out like maybe it was the 3s, and then there was a 4-5, and then they had a Clydesdale, and they sent them all out at the same time. It was kind of funny when they took a picture of the start line. It looked like a team ride. It looked like a Dell team ride. It was pretty funny. But
Oh, we just don't seem to do that anymore. Like Sunday's race at Papertown is a local race. It's only 30 miles from Vancouver,
yeah.
and I think there's 3 people signed up
From our team,
Dialed, right?
we'll
From
have
our team.
we'll have more out there. I know of a few other people that I was just talking
But-
to today, even that will
But
be out
not
there.
like
They-
not those sort of 90% of the.
Point taken,
team.
and we'll crack the whip. We'll see how many people we get out there. But there's just not a lot of people racing road bikes.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
and it doesn't help the scene when people actually put on a race that you don't show up. So yeah, get out there and race your bike. And
Yeah.
we shouldn't have more people showing up to a flogging ride than we do with like a bona fide sanctioned race. But
right. But there's some
People
hitters
love
from
that
our
flogging.
team out there
Yeah.
on that flogging ride.
Yeah.
Some very, very strong teammates.
Yeah, I mean,
Do I see them out at PIR or any other place with number on? Not many of them.
Yeah, a lot of those people, though. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses for them. Have reasons for not being out there, and it's not like they're protesting or they're like doing it just to spite you, kind of a thing. But
But they're on a bicycle racing team.
yeah, this is true. We'll get them out there. We'll get them out there. Ian's calling you out there, people. Hey, Lance, you got one last thing?
Not really.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
I am going to race my bike this weekend. I'm going back to my triathlon roots and doing a time trial.
This is funny.
I do not want to do it.
I commented
I'm
on
doing
your,
it in protest.
I commented on your Strava.
Yes.
Something. There was some sort of time trial thing going in
I
there.
was testing some time trial stuff. Yes, I'm doing a time trial down in the Eugene area on Sunday.
Is this because you need to check a box,
Yes,
basically?
it's purely to check a box.
Lance is trying to compete in a competition called the bar category, which is the best all around rider.
Right.
And the way that you get points for that is based on how you finish. But you have to do 4 of the 5 disciplines that are offered through Obra?
There's like 8 disciplines that Obra has.
You didn't borrow anything like TT helmet?
Oh yes, I'm borrowing all sorts of stuff already.
Okay.
I
forget who was the Masters.
Who was the Masters bar champion? That was Sir Ian Gibson.
Oh, right.
Overall bar champion for Masters, right?
Overall bar champion
Didn't
for
you win
Masters.
for 60 plus and the overall?
Yeah, he won
overall.
You
Yeah.
win your age group and you won for Masters. Yeah.
So are you going for overall or just your age group?
I'm going for overall.
Ooh.
If you get overall, you're going to win your age group
So
too.
you have to race cyclocross, mountain bike,
Yes.
road bike,
Yes.
time trial,
Yes.
and
Crit.
Do
Short
you-
track.
They broke out crit too?
Yeah.
Do you have to just do one time trial
Gravel.
race?
Yes.
Gravel.
Just enough to get on the scoreboard for
What? Whose helmet are you borrowing?
I
You have an old one?
I was gonna wear a Utopia. I have
I have a really good one if you want.
all right. I'm,
Giro?
fancy. I'm
Yeah.
coming over.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's weird
Going
how it
over.
works, right? So
to find
if
it.
you get placing points
You have to
starting
be
at
you have to be in the top 20 of your field or
right, but
something like
it's
that.
like you get 1 point for first place, 2 for second, and then
Is that golf
and then
scoring
you
like
get
low score
for
thing?
your bar points. You get 300 points minus your place.
yeah,
so
something like
you-
that.
So like you get 299 points just for doing a completely different discipline. If you were to win it, you
Yeah.
get a whole bunch of points. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I've already done 3 different disciplines, and I'm trying to do 6 different disciplines. And if I place in 6 different disciplines, then you usually, even if you're not good in several of them, you can usually win the bar.
So you said there's 7 different categories that they're using now. I think they might have amended that recently, but I could be wrong too.
I don't
But
think short track is a separate one.
It
does that-
is.
it
it
is?
It's new this year.
Wow. Okay, so you have to do 6 of the 7 at least a race and place at a certain point.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
last year Ian did 5
Yeah, out of 6.
out of 6.
6 and they
He did
added some.
5 out of
Okay.
6, and they added a couple.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to make things
you'll do well.
interesting and you're a Masters bike racer, go out there.
Come kick my ass, please. I'm borrowing a time trial bike, or I'm borrowing aero bars and an aero helmet. I can't race the Eddie division. I have to race
Yeah.
the age group division, because the Eddie division doesn't give you Masters points. It's
And you have like a
complicated.
speed suit type thing to borrow somewhere, right?
I have a speed suit from 2016
It'll work.
that they blew the zipper out, and now I have to like
Is it
safety pin it
dialed?
shut. It's dialed.
Oh, wow.
It's OG dialed. It is
So
the original
2017, yeah.
2017. Yeah. So
Lovely.
I squoze into it yesterday, and I'm like,
I have a
"Oh."
triathlon one you can go with.
That was,
but-
that was back when it was Lance 1.0 and the heavier duty Lance, wasn't it?
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hardy Lance.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's
cool.
exciting.
I didn't really want to tell
When is
people
this?
that.
When is this coming?
It's Sunday.
Okay.
25K, which is an odd,
It's like 15 and a half
or
miles.
15.5 miles, about 25-ish K somewhere
Yeah,
in there.
something like that. It's gonna be like 40 minutes for me.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, those aero
40
bars
minutes
that
of
you're
pain.
slapping on the road bike are going to make a big difference. You'll be a lot faster that way than if you were just riding your bike traditionally.
True.
So you should do a lot better.
Yeah. And Ian's letting me borrow his time trial bike. So if
Oh, you're going to ride the Diamondback, huh?
I might try the Diamondback. I'm not sure which one to do yet, because this course has some climbing in it, and
How much?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it that closely. I got to go down and look at it.
I hate riding time trial bikes, but
So do I, man.
I love my old time trial bike. I need a new one.
Cool. All right, my one last thing is we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. I'll just go ahead and put the stamp on it. The Dialed Cycling Slack, if you're interested in that, you can go to dialedcycling.com. And if you look under the fun stuff, it's a bit of a process and there's a reason for it, but you have to go in there, click on that, and then there's a page called the Dialed Cycling Club, if I'm not mistaken. Click on that, and then you have to fill out a form to request to be in that. And that helps us like kind of filter out some riffraff, because you will get people that will, if you just put that out there for everybody, you get these old randos coming in. At least we know if you're cycling, whatever, and you take the time to fill out the form, we know that you're legit. But the other thing is Slack, when you bring people in, they provide a link that you send out to the folks that they have to click on to actually join your workspace. If we just put up that static link, A bunch of other people would click on it, and B, it actually expires every 30 days, so they just regenerate a new one. So we just can't put a static link there and have it be, there for people to click on without having the hassle of going back and always changing it and then maybe forgetting and screwing up or whatever. So you go in there, you fill out that form, and we'll email you back with the link to join, and then you can come in there and do all the fun stuff. And the other fun thing that you can connect to is Dialed Cycling on Strava. That's especially fun if you're here local and you want to connect and see all the different rides that we've got going on and the things that are going on in the Dialed riding sphere. It's kind of cool. And then you can see the other people that are a part of the community and connect with them and see where they're riding, and you can heckle Lance on there, tell them fun things.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, good times. So, cool. All right, I think that's it. You guys say anything else?
That's it.
Sweet. Well, thanks, and happy Friday. Good luck this weekend to everybody who's racing and doing all those fun things. And for everybody else, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another one of these. And until then, bye for now.
This has been Talk. Thank you for listening.